Well, hello once again. I'm Pastor Jeremy Combs. We're here, Lyford Bible Baptist Church, and want to invite you to come to our Good Friday service tomorrow. All right, we're celebrating the crucifixion of our Lord, and we're going to do it in a very unique way. We're going to go through the prophecies that are fulfilled by Jesus on the cross. It is fantastic. You say, Pastor, I can't be there, wish I could. Well, there's two things I can offer you. Can I say it that way? Not make it sound like a salesman. One, if you're not in the area and you can't make it, we will have it on our church's YouTube and Facebook pages. And we hope to record that as long as we don't have technical difficulties. And you can watch that and go that route. Or I've actually printed that up into a booklet. And in some ways, I think it's the best way because you can actually hold it and you can see it and look the passages up. But it's called Journey to Golgotha Through the Old Testament. I would be willing to send you that for free. If you would be willing to read it, okay? And so all you would need to do is just message us, and we could set up with you how to get it to you. And you say, I want to strengthen my faith in the Lord. Nothing will strengthen your faith in Jesus Christ more than having it solidified in your mind that he is the Son of God. And the way to do that is by seeing how he fulfills so many prophecies with his life. And so that's what we'll do tomorrow night. If you're in the area, would love to have you. And then, of course, Sunday, we've got our Sunday services, 7 o'clock in the morning. That's right. We're going to have a sunrise service, we hope, weather permitting. And we want to be outside. If not, we'll be indoors. And then we've got a breakfast and then a little pause. And then we'll have a 10 a.m. service and then a 6 o'clock, which is a unique service. We're going to have a sing and scripture service where we're just going to sing hymns, have specials, read scriptures about the life of Christ. Start at his birth, go through his life on earth, go to the cross, go to the resurrected tomb, his resurrection in the tomb, and talk about his coming again. And so, boy, looking forward to that. Well, here we are, 2 Samuel chapter 13 and verse 19. We've just seen that Amnon has raped his half-sister Tamar, and now the love with which he loved her has been trumped by the hate that he now has for her. And he pushes her out the house, and she pleads with him, don't do this. It's going to cause further shame to us. And he won't even listen to her. He tells the servant, throw her out, bolt the door behind her. And now we see fallout from this. Verse 19, and Tamar put ashes on her head, rent her garments of diverse colors that was on her, and laid her hand on her head and went on crying. Oh, you have to so feel for Tamar here. She's innocent, and I want to say that. And I don't know that I've dogmatically, I hope I haven't alluded that she was party to this. We've talked about she went, Dad asked her to go and feed the brother. She went, I think, with good intentions. He grabbed a hold of her, much like Joseph in Genesis. However, Joseph was a man. So, it would be more difficult for a woman to rape a man because of the strength that the man has. Well, the woman did not have the strength that Joseph had. He grabs her. She does plead with him, don't do this thing, but he won't. And he rapes her. And then he sends her out. And so she's distraught. She's shamed. The ashes on the head, the tearing of the garments was to be that her heart was in mourning. They would do this when someone died. And it was a big deal. Her laid her hand on her head. I mean, now she is physically ill from what has happened. She's crying, and Absalom, her brother, said to her, hath Amnon thy brother been with thee? It again tends to think that a lot of folks knew that Amnon had been infatuated with her, and that Absalom, when he sees how distraught his sister is, their full brother, sister from the same mother, he goes to her and says, have you been around Amnon? What has happened? Maybe he's thinking he said something, did something, whatever it might be. He says, but hold now thy peace. Maybe he's already heard what has happened. He says, hold your peace. He said, you're innocent. You need to be not ashamed of this. Hold your peace, my sister. He is thy brother. Regard not this thing. So Tamar remained desolate in her brother Absalom's house. So Absalom, we're going to get into him. He's going to be a major player in the next several chapters. He's a complicated character. Here, obviously, he did have great compassion for his sister. He takes her in. He says, regard not this thing. I suppose it's in how he's saying regarding not this thing. Maybe he's saying it's no big deal. It was a big deal, and it needed to be dealt with. My question is, and we'll see in just a moment, David is a little absent in this, but Absalom says, come live with my house. You can stay here. There'll be some privacy there. She would obviously, not being a virgin anymore, probably would have lost her guard detail. Everybody would have known it. Would have been very shameful in public. He says, I'll take care of you. You come, you live with me, and I will shelter you from the shame that your half brother Amnon's brought upon you. But when King David, verse 21, heard of these things, he was very wroth. And there's a period there. He was angry. He was very upset about this. But there's no activity. It's a reminder to us all that we can get very upset about sin and things for God that are not happening, but we need to back it up. Okay? You can get upset about the filth on TV, and that's a good thing. But if that's all it does right there is make you upset, it's not a it's good, but it needs to be better. That is, you need to get up and turn off the TV. It needs to be best. Maybe you just avoid it altogether if that's really that bad. Sometimes folks will come to church and they'll say, "Well, Pastor, why isn't this happening?" And that kind of makes me upset that such and such or more people ought to be doing this, or this is a problem that needs to be handled, and they see a need. And my opinion, my phrase I always say to them is, see the need, take the lead. Hey, you see that need? Good, 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 good. Don't let it stop there. Take the lead. Let's get this done. Let's solve these problems. And I'm more than willing to help, but obviously there's a lot of things that I'm attending to that sometimes I can't get to, and that's why that's not happening. And someone comes and, boy, Pastor, that really ought to happen. I'm really worked up about it. Good, but that's all they do is they get worked up about it, and they maybe want me to try to go over and do it. And sometimes I could put that on my list of things, but I got a list a mile long, and I could try to get to it later. But the best thing they could do is just say, hey, Pastor, here's that need. And yes, you need to go to your pastor and talk to him. And then he says, okay, well, yeah, I think that's good. Let's go do something about it. And you say, hey, I see this. If you want, I'll go take care of it. That's the way to handle it. David just gets upset about something, and that's it. And he almost ignores it. Again, is this a guilty conscience from David? Had committed sin, had been an adulterer, had been a murderer. And so how can I go and talk to Amnon? How can I go and sort this thing out when all they'll say is, Dad, we know what you did? Well, there is a way to do that. And maybe you're dealing with this right now. Maybe you've had some sin in the past. You say, how can I talk to my kids about their purity, about not drinking when that's in my past? Well, what you need to do is you've got to humble yourself and say, you said I did that, and you are exactly right. And I tell you what, I'm ashamed of it. It was wrong. I've asked God to forgive me, and now I do not want to see you go the same path because of the hurt and the pain that it has cost me. You can have so much better, and that's why I'm talking to you. That's how David could have and probably should have handled this, but he doesn't. And Absalom spake unto his brother Amnon, neither good nor bad. Absalom is kind of like Jonadab. He's a subtle guy, as you're going to see in this book. And so he doesn't go up and confront him. He doesn't speak good to him. He just kind of indifferent to him. For Absalom hated Amnon because he had forced his sister Tamar. He hated him. Now, this isn't right. Maybe, and I think Absalom probably should have gone up and confronted his brother. And maybe should have gone to his dad, and with his dad gone and confronted his brother. But instead, he lets this fester. Unresolved anger leads to bitterness, and bitterness oft will lead to destruction. This is where it's headed. It came to pass after 2 full years. So for 2 years, this hatred festered, that Absalom had sheep shearers in Belahazar, which is beside Ephraim, and Absalom invited all the king's sons. And Absalom came to the king and said, Behold, now thy servant hath sheep shearers. Let the king, I beseech thee, and his servants go with thy servant. And the king said to Absalom, Nay, my son, let us not all go down, lest we be chargeable unto thee. And he pressed him. Howbeit he wouldn't go, but blessed him. He said, hey, come on, everybody, let's have a big old family powwow. Let's have all the sons, all the servants, and dad come on down with us. And David's like, no. And David says, that's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a lot on you. You'll be responsible for us. And he presses until David finally says, well, you go ahead and go. I'm a little old for this, but, you've got my blessing. Then said Absalom, if you're not going to go, Dad, I pray thee, let my brother Amnon go with us. And the king said unto him, why should he go with you? This should have been red flags all over the place. But Absalom pressed him that he let Amnon and all the king's sons go with him. David gives in to this. He can't tell his kids no, which is a bad thing. And again, I like to think maybe David as a dad was thinking, these brothers haven't hardly talked to each other. They're very indifferent. And maybe this is Absalom trying to give an olive branch, a peace offering. And this really could be a good thing. Now, Absalom had commanded his servants, this would be verse 28, saying, Mark ye now when Amnon's heart is merry with wine. And when I say unto you, smite Amnon, then kill him. Fear not. Have not I commanded you? Be courageous and be valiant. One, they're going to get him drunk. How'd they know he'd get drunk? Well, he's an indulgent man. And if you're indulgent in one area, you're typically indulgent in other areas. And so they say, let's get him drunk. And when I give you the sign, kill him. And he says, be courageous. Have not I commanded you? Be courageous, be valiant. This reminds me of Joshua chapter 1. Again, this is the wisdom of God. Have not I commanded you? Be strong and have courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed. For the Lord thy God's with thee, whithersoever thou goest. This is contrary. The devil loves to counterfeit the wisdom and the skill of God. And this is almost the same of, hey, I've commanded you to do this wickedness. Be courageous, be valiant. You guys can do this thing. And the servants of Absalom did unto Amnon as Absalom had commanded. Then all the king's sons arose, and every man got him up into his mule and fled. So they kill him, and everybody gets out of Dodge. Is this a conspiracy to kill everybody? Pandemonium, panic sets in. It came to pass that while they were in the way, that tidings came to David, saying, Absalom hath slain all the king's sons, and there is not one of them left. Well, everybody, they at least had that part right. Absalom's the brains behind this thing, but in the hysteria, whatever the servant got, he said, hey, all the king's sons are dead. And it's not accurate. There's only one that's dead, but they don't have breaking news, Fox News. They don't have phones. They don't have text message, email, any of that thing. So it'd be word of mouth. And so at this point, David has to be distraught thinking, oh no, Absalom, wanting to take over the kingdom, has killed all my sons, murdered them all. Then the king arose, tear his garments, lay on the earth, and all of his servants stood by with their clothes rent. David, really believes he's killed everybody. And Jonadab, do you remember that guy? This is the friend that talked to Amnon. Hey, here's how you can defile your sister. Jonadab, the son of Shimei, David's brother, answered and said, let not my lord suppose that they have slain all the young men, the king's sons, for Amnon only is dead. For by appointment of Absalom, this hath been determined from the day that he forced his sister Tamar. Now therefore let not my lord the king take the thing to heart, to think that all the king's sons are dead, for Amnon only is dead. Whoa. You know what a terrible friend Jonadab was? He manipulated and convinced Amnon to go and rape his sister. Then probably it hadn't happened very soon after that he goes over to Absalom and says, hey, he may have even been the one that told him. You know what Amnon did to your sister? He raped her. And he's lusted after her. He connived all this. I'll tell you what, we need to get even with this guy. And it very well could be, if he didn't devise the plan, he was in on it, because here he is miles away. And when that servant comes in and says, all the king's sons are dead, he says, David, don't worry. That's not true. Only Amnon is dead. And this has all been orchestrated by Absalom because he raped his sister. I tell you, Jonadab was a terrible, terrible friend and a terrible, terrible man. But Absalom fled, verse 34, and the young man that kept the watch lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there came much people by the way of the hillside behind him. And Jonadab said unto the king, behold, the king's sons come, as thy servant said. So it is. He said, hey, see, I knew it. I was right. And it came to pass, as soon as he had made an end of speaking, that behold, the king's sons came and lifted up their voices and wept. The king also and all of his servants wept very sore. They're brokenhearted about this. But Absalom fled and went to Talmai, the son of Ammihud, king of Geshur. And David mourned for his son every day. He mourned for Amnon. He mourned for Absalom. There's always something in a father and mother's heart that they mourn over a wayward son or daughter. So Absalom fled and went to Geshur and was there 3 years. And the soul of King David longed to go forth unto Absalom, for he was comforted concerning Amnon, seeing he was dead. So he gets over Amnon, and the grief process is over 3 years. And now his heart begins slowly to turn to Absalom, and he wants that relationship to be restored. But again, what is unfortunately kind of typical of David, he remains silent. What a terrible, terrible time in the life of David. It only gets worse. And yet I don't know that it gets as, well, maybe. I take that back. This is evil. This is horrendous, but it will get worse. Chapter 15 is coming. But the reminder here for us all is that two wrongs never make a right. Absalom should have dealt with this the right way. David should have stopped and not let this problem fester. But you kick the can down the road long enough, eventually that can is going to come back to hit you. And this is exactly what happened to David. So don't kick the can down the road. Deal with sin early on. Hey, God bless you. Hope you have a great Easter. We'll see you next week. God bless you.